All right, hello guys. So this is the prestige method. So it's the first time I'm doing this where it's on video, and today I'm going to show you the prestige method that has helped me scale my business to over $3,000 in combined results. So that's not only my own results, but also the results of my clients. And today, just a bit briefly, we're going to cover 5 things. We're going to go about positioning, offer, leads, sales, and scaling. Now, with these 5 things, I'm going to focus most on sales and scaling, because like the majority of you who need to fix your positioning, offer, or leads just needs to do the basic things. And unfortunately, most gurus, they actually like sugarcoat this info with like regurgitated advice. Like they make 10 billion different content types and sell you the dream of like, if you make this content, you'll get better clients, right? Which, if you make better content, you will get better clients. But the thing is, that's just it. You just make content. You just make good content whatever your content is. So enough about that. So coming back to my point, I'll only cover sales and scaling part a lot because it's what you guys have been talking about. I mean, have been asking me to mix. So I'm going to go deep on that. But it's not to say that these other parts aren't important. I'm also going to cover parts like brand framing, funnels, offer messaging, inbound generator, and lead nurturing, stuff that people tend to like look over when it comes to building personal brands and businesses in general. So I'm going to give you my exact prestige model that turns you into a commodity, which no one likes, into prestige, which everyone likes. So I'm not going to hold back that much. Obviously I'm going to hold back on some stuff that you don't need right now, or stuff that is reserved for people who pay me thousands of dollars. And I'm doing that because like my offers are 80% implementing, meaning I don't sell courses and stuff, and the rest of it is for learning. So, first, the age old question. Now, why should you listen to me? Well, if you've been on X for a while, which, you're most likely seeing this from X, almost all of the people that you're seeing on your feed have been mentored or coached by me. Most of them. And almost all of the post templates, except the platitudes, obviously, came from my own templates and ideas. Meaning, I've been here for a while, I'm getting old, and I'll soon be 20. So, as you can see, if you recognize some of these guys, Josh, full disclaimer, I helped Josh when he was at like 15K followers. He's at 47K now, so that's cool. Onat, Ben, Callum, Arnie, yeah, all of these guys. So I've helped all of these guys, and even people outside from X, like Pablo, he has 23K subscribers. Celeste, she has like 20K. Yeah, so I've helped a lot of people. And if you recognize some of these people, like I said, I've mentored some of them in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, I'm done mentoring some of these guys, right? But I've all helped them either start their brands or scale their brands. So, um, after that, I actually thought, why not apply the same principles to our platforms? Because I didn't want to be the guy who, just blew up from X, like you get popular off of one post for like a few months or so, and then that's it, that's your thing. So I wanted to try my strategies on other platforms, and it worked. Like I did YouTube a couple of months ago, and with just one video I was able to get 90 inbound leads, clients for my main program, filled all of my spots, and 2,000 organic YouTube subscribers that would have taken most people weeks. So the offer and my strategies worked in other platforms is what I'm trying to say. And it's exactly why I've been able to help people like Celeste and Pablo, because my offer works in all other niches. So this is not only an offer that will work on X, or in general, this is not only a method that will work on X. The stuff that I'll be teaching you in this video will work on every single platform. So, with that being said, I still myself, I focus a lot on like X and with a bit of YouTube on the side, but depending on your stuff, it will also work in other platforms. So, you could literally apply this to any platform, it will still give you results, because what we have applied and have worked for all of the people that I showed you above. So it basically works. So, coming back to the prestige method. So we have positioning, offer, lead, sales, and scaling. Now, If you're under like 10K, 20K a month, then you only need to focus on the first four. You do not need to focus on scaling. If you need help with scaling, I mean, if you're dealing with burnout, when you're under like 10K, 20K a month, my biggest advice for you is to just raise your prices. That's it. You don't need to do anything else. Like, you don't need to start doing big CRMs, tools, stuff like that. You don't need to automations. You don't need to hire that much people, or you don't need to hire people at all. So like, if you're under 10K, 20K a month, what you just need to do is raise your prices and do the fundamentals 10 times better, right? Or even just 2 times better. But I'm still going to cover scaling because a lot of you wanted like a glimpse of how I'm helping people scale to like 10K, 20K a month. So I'll include that at the end. So with that being said, let's start with positioning. So I'm going to do this guide a bit differently. So obviously the iPad thing is new, but I'm going to do it differently when it comes to content. So the way I'm going to be teaching you in this guide is I'll be showing some of my clients and how I've helped them personally. Because so many people nowadays, they have these lead magnets and they have these guides where they just throw out stuff that they've read from like Hormozy or Russell Branson, you know? So I'm going to do it a bit different. I'm going to do it in a way where I've actually done it for my clients. So you'll see what I'm doing with like real world examples, not just like theory. So if you want to do that, then watch this video. So first thing is positioning. Now when it comes to brand framing, it's what I've helped Callum the most on, because like what Callum's offer is, it's something about emails, and he helps people with like their email sequences, but we transition from like his entire thing now. So he does everything when it comes to email. And so when Callum came to me, his biggest problem was that it's not that his offer was bad. Like he was on the like his offer was pretty good and he over delivered for his prospects. But people just weren't seeing his brand as something useful. Like he had to get clients through sheer volume. And so if you go to do that, then why still build your brand? Like I think I asked Callum something online, stuff like, why are you still posting on X if it's not serving you? Why not just an email? And so like he kind of realized that even though he has followers, his account was not helping him get clients or was not helping him get leads. And so that was bad. And so like I kind of told him, dude, if you're not going to fix this, then you're not going to, benefit from that. And so like how Callum fixed this stuff is basically we made him talk about his offer or his brand in general more. And what do I mean by that? So Callum has this thing about like email artisan, and I have this thing with prestige. I talk about prestige a lot. So the way that you frame your brand correctly is always talk about your program's stuff. So like, to put it very simply, if I always talk about prestige and how I help people inside prestige, then that instantly gives me leverage with my brand, and it frames my brand in a good way compared to someone who just like talks about having a one-to-one mentorship or how they help clients in their random ass program. It doesn't work. So to kind of like fix that, you need to talk about, you need to plan stuff about your program. So for me, I plan stuff about prestige. I always talk about prestige, how I help people, what's inside prestige, some of the modules, some of the courses. So that's what Callum did. If you look at his pinned post, I think at the time of this posting, I think it was something like with his email artists and stuff. So I told him, since you have this thing about email artisan, why not make a pinned post about it? Or why not talk about your how you help people and relate that to email artisan? Because what he did before, he was just saying stuff like, oh, I help people increase their email sequences or something. I don't know emails. Emails something about XYZ, and he did that by increasing it by 2 times, 20%, and people don't care about that. But if people constantly saw that he did that by using email artisan, then people are going to start taking notice of it. Like, what the hell is email artisan? Why is it getting these guys clients results? I did the same thing with prestige. Before I was just flexing people's results. I was saying like, I got this client 10K a month. I got this guy 100 followers in 2 seconds, but no one cared. But the moment I said I got this client 0 to 10K a month inside prestige, people started caring. Why? Because it's way better than 0 to 10K a month. Adding prestige on it sounds way better. No, I'm joking. But the gist is, you need to have titles around your programs and, generally just talk about them in a good way. So the next thing is funnels. Now, when it comes to positioning, funnels is very important. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. When I started my brand, I did not have any meaningful funnels. I did not have a sales funnel. I mean, I did have one, but it was like very basic. The thing is, nowadays, since the market is getting more saturated, you need funnels now. Like, you cannot just expect to DM someone and get a client the next day. That may have worked before, and I've seen it happen with me before, when I was starting out early on. But right now, if you want the highest chances of getting clients early on without like big leverage, then you'll need to prepare funnels. And that's something that you can do at your own time. And so, like, for example, this guy that I just started helping with his YouTube offer, we worked on his sales funnel. And one of the biggest tips that I can give you with sales funnels, without going too deep into the details, because it would take me another video, is just by focusing whether your offer is done for you or done with you. So I'll give you an example. So this guy's offer is obviously done for you, and he's a YouTube video editor, so he edits people's videos. He handles stuff like scripts, thumbnails, the ideas, and the editing and all of that stuff. But when it came to a sales funnel, I kind of looked at it and saw it like as a done with you offer. So it sounded like a coaching offer, because when I went to a sales funnel, and I don't have that here, when I went to a sales funnel, it kind of looked like he was saying like, oh, do you want my 10-step ideas on videos? Do you want my 6-step video structure framework? And it didn't make sense, because if I was like someone looking for video editing services, what I would look out for is what this guy can actually do for me, or what this guy will um give me, right? Not what he will teach me, because even in the for you offers, there's some like a little bit of teaching, but you shouldn't like highlight that. And so my biggest tip for you, if you're making sales pages or funnels in general, outline it immediately. Like, don't go too much into theory if you're done for you. If you're done with you, you can go deep on that. But when it comes to done for you, literally just being direct and upfront with how you can help people gets you so much more results than like sugarcoating it. So if you're on that side, like done for you, then that's literally what you just need to do when it comes to sales funnels. Usually that's the biggest things that makes people reply to sales funnels and not reply to sales funnels. So I would work on that. Now, um, Venkatesh, like the guy that I've helped, he actually has a lot of success with these things, because like, for example, he got 5 out of 20 replies with this campaign, where he used the sales funnel. Now, for context, that's cold, since I also help clients with cold, and at 25% reply rate at cold is really good. Like, some people do warm DMs and can't even get that many replies, so it's really good. It works. Is what I'm just trying to say. So good funnels are the foundations of your brand, because you could get away with having zero like I think I was supposed to say social proof here at the moment I said finals, and people believe it. But today, you can't really do that, because the market is more saturated. Now you actually need to start building good funnels. Now that means, before you can even send a cold DM, make sure you have a decent landing page, for example. Which is what Ben did, because when he started out, he doesn't have that much results. Sure, he has some results, but it's not anything crazy, right? So we built him a good funnel, some other stuff as well, and it got him really good results. So the next thing is profitable ideas. And now I have to give a popular example here, Benjamin Chan. So I helped Ben like almost 1 year ago now. And when Ben started out, I remember this exact conversation. I can't remember if it was from chat or on call, but we were talking about how to build his offer, like his first few like real offer that costed like $500, $1,000. And so I asked him like, what do you want to sell? He says like, I don't know, maybe I want to sell something about writing or like client acquisition. I told him, dude, everyone does that. You need to go deeper. And so he said something like, oh, I don't really know what to do. And so I told him, wait, your thing is about stories, right? Why not just tell people about stories? And I think we paused for like 5 seconds, even on chat. I saw him stop typing, if that was on chat. Then after that, he like something clicked in his brain. So I had this thing about stories. Why not just use it in my offers? So I told him, that idea is actually profitable. And he went ahead and used it. So the thing is, if you want to validate an idea, kind of like what Ben did, then think of like how other people are doing already. So like when it came to Ben, he didn't see stories as like a profitable idea, but I did, because I knew about like Russell Branson. He also has something about stories. And so that means someone has already done something about stories, like standing out, my thing. Some other guy has already probably done something about standing out. I just don't know about it. And the thing is, you are not special. That's something that you need to learn about business. You are not the next Steve Jobs. Maybe you will be in the future, but right now, if you want the fastest success, you just need to find out what works and do it better, or at least do it in a way that is still unique. And that's kind of what Ben did. Obviously he didn't copy Russell Branson, but he found a way to use this store's idea into his stuff. So like after that, Ben was able to help not only himself but also his clients. He helped his clients get clients, and his clients get clients. So the next part is offers. So honestly, when it comes to like positioning, you only need to focus on those three. Don't focus too much on like the other stuff. That's stuff that you should only refine. And the stuff that I'm talking about are like the niche ideas, the sophisticated content, stuff like that. You don't need to worry about that. Just worry on about those three things, you know. So the next thing that I want to talk about is offer. So after you have good positioning and everything, the next thing that you should do is obviously craft your offer, because without your offer, nothing else will kind of make sense. And before you start getting leads, or before you start making content, which I'll cover later, you need to have your offer, because your offer revolves, everything that you make revolves around your offer, not the other way around. So when it comes to building out your offer, you only really need to think about two things. One, building out the offer itself, which is really simple, by the way. And two, offer messaging, which a lot of people miss. So let's start with signature offer. So for example, this guy, Pablo Quesada. So when this guy came to me, his biggest problem was not when it comes to like content or finding ways to generate leads, because this guy has more subscribers than me, combined with my YouTube and X and everything else. And so that was not his problem. Instead, his problem was like an offer that actually converted. So um when Pablo came to me, he actually told me something along the lines of like, Sean, I have multiple products and I have multiple things, but I don't really know what to focus on. And his problem was he had too many offers. He did not have a signature offer. And that was his big problem. Like as a business owner, especially if you're starting out, you may get excited on like multiple offers. You might sell products, you might sell mentorships, you might sell cohorts. But if you don't have a signature offer that you can sell a lot, then you're not going to get much success. And so that's what we did when it came to Pablo. So within just one call about offers, I told him, dude, you need an offer about this and you need to sell it the next day. With your next video. And he did get a client from the video that he sold him. And then they sold the offer. So if you don't have like a signature offer, then you literally just need to build an offer that you see yourself upgrading for the next like few months or even years, because like even if a signature offer means signature, that doesn't mean that you cannot upgrade it. So I have Prestige, Prestige, and before that, Prestige started off as Wi-Fi Money Mastermind. And after like Prestige, it kind of evolved to like School Prestige, since it's now in school, right? And so like your signature offer evolves, is what I'm trying to say. And the thing is, you need to have one like right now. If you don't have a signature offer, or you're just kind of like saying to yourself, oh, I have this offer, it will sell, then it won't work. Like you need to have something solid, similar to Pablo here. And so if you have something solid, selling stuff will be much more easier. It kind of relates back to brand framing with Callum. If he didn't name his stuff Email Artisan, and if he didn't talk about his stuff, then his stuff wouldn't sell as well. So You need to do that because it helps a lot. So when it comes to building a signature offer, I would want you to focus on three things. Now, you probably know about the basic stuff like building guarantees, structuring your offer, making promises. So I'm not going to go deep on that. Instead, I want you to remember three things, which you might forget. So the first thing is, do not chase only what you want. Now the thing is, it's kind of like related to chasing your passion. When it comes to offers, don't chase only what you want to help people with. Like the business model about helping people two steps behind you, it makes sense. But if you think about it critically and apply it to your brand critically, it doesn't make sense. Like, you have an individual experience and a very unique experience that no one else has. So it doesn't make sense. You still need to do research on your ICP. You still need to do research on a general ICP. So if you made the mistake of like over specifying your offer, then it's bad. It simply won't perform well. You need to do research, but don't like overcomplicate it. So do not chase only what you want, and instead make it around what people want. You'll have way more success on that. Now, two is run market validation multiple times. Now, there's multiple ways to do it. Now, the most obvious way is trying to sell it. If no one shows interest, then even after fixing bottlenecks like sales, for example, then you have a bad offer. There's just no other way around it. And two, you can try to sell it for cheap. Like, you can sell it for like half the price or even like for free, and you only give away some of the parts of your offer. If people still don't bite that, then you have a bad offer. And honestly, I would recommend running market validation. If you're not sure about your offer multiple times, like maybe you sell it for like half the price for two times. If you still don't get promising lead flow or like interest in that, do it two more times. After that, after tweaking your promises and like the stuff with your offer and it actually performs well, that's when you can start selling it normally and like running launches. Because before that, your biggest like ROI when it comes to scaling your offer is actually finding out what people want. And that's why you should not chase only what you want, because it doesn't show what people want. That's very important. And the third thing, you should focus on offer messaging. Now, it's 100 times more important for offers rather than the stuff like guarantees, promises, like deliverables, all of that stuff. And so I'm going to show you what I mean in a bit. But when it comes to building your offer, just know that everything else I just talked about here doesn't matter as much as offer messaging. Now, what's offer messaging? It's basically perceived value. Now, perceived value when it comes to your offers is everything. So, with that being said, don't use overused or dead template scripts, files, etc. because that decreases your perceived value when it comes to your offer. Like, for example, if you use a dead offer template, then people will kind of catch up to that and instantly decrease your perceived value. Like, people see that. And if there's like a gold rush when it comes to offers, like I remember back then there was a popular offer. It was like scale to 5K a month in 90 days. If people see that and it's in the gold rush stage, then it's still good. Like, people still want that. But if it's dead and you're still using that today, then you're going to get way, way less people interested. And so this is very important. Like, offer messaging in general is very important. So these stuff, they do not matter unless perceived value is high. So when it comes to offer messaging, I want you to look at these guys. So what do they have in common? What do Onat, Johnny, Ben, and Arnie have in common? So what they have in common is they sell very similar offers. I also sell a similar offer. And what these guys sell is like client acquisition. Everyone sells client acquisition nowadays, and there's nothing bad with that. I sell the same thing. Like, the thing is, how does Johnny, for example, still get clients when Onat sells the same thing, when Arnie sells the same thing, when Ben sells the same thing? So, even like to add to that, the audiences of Johnny, Onat, and like Arnie, for example, they know the audiences of these guys' audiences. So why is it that some people buy from people XYZ selling the same offer with while there's people XYZ selling the same offer, right? And the reason for that is simple. It's simply offer messaging. Now, what do I mean by that? So for example, when Onat, like Onat's story, um if Onat's story talks about like XYZ, and Ben's story talks about like ABC, then people from the XYZ angle are going to buy Offer's story, but people from the ABC angle are going to buy Benjamin's story. And that's kind of like offer messaging. And if you've already had clients already, you can do an experiment. Try to look at your clients. Do they have similarities? Most likely they do. Do they have similarities with you? Most likely they do. And that's because of your offer messaging. You may not be prioritizing this or may not even know what it means, but you may be doing it subconsciously, especially when it comes to X. Like, for example, I'll give you an example for me. I like to post about like Wi-Fi money and like what Wi-Fi money gives them. Like this apartment right here, post about it a lot. And I always attribute it to like because of my business, like what my business has done for me. And with my business, I was able to get all of this, right? And so the people who also want like apartments like these and like the freedom like these, they'll look at my stuff and see, oh, this guy is exactly who I need to get help from. And it's similar with these guys. If someone sees Onat and they have like a similar story, they'll come to Onat and say like, hey, your stuff is like really resonates with me. I want your help. Similar to like Ben. If people sees Ben's story and like relates to him, people will see like, oh, I really like Ben's stuff. I'll go to him, right? And this is not just like some theory stuff. This is stuff that people have been using for literal decades when it comes to like copywriting, marketing, and all other fancy words. So, with that being said, while you may be doing offer messaging like subconsciously and not even noticing it, if you do notice it and actually leverage knowing this, then you're going to benefit so much. Like you're going to get so much more results if you actually do offer messaging intentionally. And what do I mean by that? It's basically like you intentionally creating content for your ideal audience. And that basically means offer messaging, because like if you're selling a done with you offer or even done for you offer, that usually means that the promise or like the selling point is tied to your own success. So if you talk about your unique stuff a lot, then people will naturally come to you, and that's offer messaging. That's way more important than like these things. These things only matter after you identify like good offer messaging and do it consistently. I've helped like so many people, and I noticed the same thing. So obviously there's extras when it comes to building offers. Like I have these things with inside Prestige. There's like how to build offers that sell themselves, offer scripting, like stuff like building custom offers, offer delivery pricing, offer stacking, offer testing, all of these different things. And like obviously these help, these add value to your offer. But if you just focus on like offer messaging, then you're going to benefit a lot more. So for example, the easiest way to kind of like do offer messaging is for one to sell the dream. So if you're done with you, like I said, I talk about my apartment a lot, the new apartment. I talk about traveling with my friends a lot. I talk about events a lot. I talk about what this business has done for me, and I sell the dream, so it works. Um, like it's a good business model as long as you're still delivering people value. Obviously if you just flex Lambos and when people sign with you as a client, you just teach them like how to build a LinkedIn account or like how to create a LinkedIn account, then that's a bad way of doing business. But if you sell the dream, which is fine, but still generate value and get people results like I have, then you're going to build a good business. And so like you should focus on that, not just on selling the dream part, because this is a good way to get leads. Like if you create your content around these, if you look at people from like Instagram, for example, if you see their top of the funnel content who sells like similar offers, you'll see that they actually make very similar content. And it's also the dream because it's this one content that performs well. It's not the value, it's not the overly long breakdown videos, it's simply selling the dream that outperforms everything. There's a reason why like the kids with Lambos are doing so much better than people who like do 2-hour breakdowns. And I'm not saying that so you can start posting about Lambos. I'm just saying that because that's the reality. So selling the dream is one of the biggest levers when it comes to offer messaging. Second thing is offer brand dominance. So you don't need huge audiences to do this. Like for example, when people made these posts about me, I only had like 2,000 followers max, I think. So in order to do these, you need to relate a lot of the stuff that you're posting to yourself. And that's kind of like a hard topic to grasp. Now, what do I mean by that? So for one, I always talk about prestige, like the methods that I'm doing. I try to relate it to prestige, like with this thing right here. And the second thing is I always try to like talk about myself. And it kind of like goes back down to the how to versus how I, because like a lot of people, when it comes to creating content, they always do like how to get to 10K a month with code TMs. But if you always frame it as like how I, like for example, how I got to 10K a month with code DMs, then you're going to see much more benefit from this. And people will start associating your ideas and your posts with you, not just with your advice. So that's a very little tip, but if you're not doing how I that much, I promise you on a psychological scale, it will give you better offer and brand dominance. So the third thing is offer sophistication. So after you do the other basic stuff, you can now do stuff like offer of sophistication. And it's basically you like going deeper on your offer. So for example, like when it comes to prestige, before I just talked about prestige and how it helped clients get results. Now if you wanted to go deeper, you could also talk about like what you're doing inside prestige, like what you're building. For example, here I talk about what I help people with inside prestige. Like I talk about the new updates that I'm doing, that stuff. And I also talk about like getting domains and other random stuff. The thing is, that's kind of like offer sophistication. The more you talk about the offer, the more that you will naturally like the more that your offer will naturally sophisticate. Like that's just how it is. You're gonna run out of topics and you're gonna need to think about better topics. But if you do it intentionally, similar to like offer messaging in general, you're going to see much more better results. Like when I talk about prestige, I make sure to talk about it in two ways. The first way is awareness, so people actually know what the hell prestige is about. And the second way is sophisticated content about prestige, which is like me going deeper on what prestige even means. Like I made a post couple of like months ago or like weeks, I think, about why I even made prestige. And I made a whole post about the meaning behind the name of prestige. Like some people, they don't even get deeper like that. But when you see some people's offers, unfortunately, you'll see that their offers name is like supercharging people's YouTube brands. So what does supercharging mean? It doesn't make sense. But if you go deep on that, what they've done with prestige, then prestige will actually start to make sense. So you need to do that if you want your offer to be sophisticated. Now, after your offer is built, you can now focus on the lead gen side of things. Now, when it comes to leads, you mostly need to focus on three things. Now, the first thing is content marketing, the second thing is inbound generator, and the third thing is lead nurturing. Now, when it comes to like lead nurturing, it's the same thing as something else, but these two are the more important ones. So I'll walk you through content marketing. Now, content marketing is really simple. Now, the first way that you do the first step is basically document, and it's really simple. So just document what you have been doing, and on top of that, you need to also sell your services, which is basically like it's either selling the dream if you're done with you, or if you're done for you, you need to like talk about what makes your offer good. And in general, you need to do it in a way that's still like sophisticated. So don't just say, oh, my offer is good because it will get you 10K a month because I have the really best systems, or like stuff like that. No, you kind of need to do it in a way that's sophisticated. And the way that you can do that, for example, if you're done for you, is one, do not talk about the deliverables in a way where you just list down stuff. You need to talk about your deliverables in a way where you kind of like put a name on it and talk about your own unique ways, because like if we think about it, everything in the client acquisition space is mostly the same, especially if you're in a saturated niche. So if you want to stand out there, you need to think of your own unique way. And if you don't know your own unique way, then you haven't been doing this thing long enough, or you don't know stuff long enough to be able to teaching it or to sell it to other people. So you need to come up with your own unique framework. So I'll give you an example. For prestige, I've made multiple names for my stuff. So after that, you basically profit, because the whole point about content marketing when it comes to building in public is momentum. So after you get results, for example, so after you get to 1K a month, for example, you can talk about that, especially if it's related to your offer, and that's momentum. It's you building in public to benefit more. It's not something that you need to scale with volume. Like, obviously more volume works, but if you simply scale with your own results and documenting it, by documenting it, then you will profit much more faster than simply relying on pure volume. So I would focus on that if you are on this side of the spectrum where your progress relates to your offer. Now, the second thing is inbound generator. Now, there's 3 ways to generate leads. I probably should have said like lead generator here since I talk about cold. So there's 3 ways. There's hot, there's warm, and there's cold. Now, the first way is hot. Now here's Martin. He's someone that I've helped a long time ago, getting started as a brand. And so when Martin came to me, his main problem before was like lead collection, because when this guy came to me, he already had way more momentum than most people. Like he was matching my momentum. And so it's not that he didn't have the leads to talk to. It's simply he wasn't collecting the leads. And so like what we did with Martin is we worked on mainly 2 things. So we worked on lead scarcity, meaning giving people a reason to actually talk to him. And I gave him some confidence with leads, because Martin, even though he knew he had leads, he simply wasn't talking to them. Like you yourself that's watching this video, even if you have only like 100 followers, you probably have one guy there that's willing to buy your stuff. And the reason why they're not buying your stuff is simply don't have confidence to reach out to them or to start a meaningful conversation to actually get them as a client, because we have doubts. We sometimes say to ourselves, I only have 100 followers. Why will this guy sign with me when there's a guy with 1,000 followers with a better offer than me, with better positioning, with better everything, with better roof? And, if you think about that, you will not get clients. That's just it. But if you generate confidence with leads, then you will get clients. That's simply it. Even big creators, sometimes they have confidence problems with talking to people or like reaching out to people. So if you simply want clients, you need to get over that slump and simply talk to people, reach out to your leads, because if you have more than 100 followers, like I'm telling you, you have someone there that can become a client. And so like lead scarcity, to explain that a bit, it's simply like giving people a reason to buy your offer, and you do that through like, for one, you can do it through basic scarcity. So tell them, hey, I'm opening up spots, but I only have XYZ spots open. Or in general, taking things away through urgency. So like putting a time frame on your offers. That's really easy to do. Honestly, like he needed help most on the confidence part. And obviously, there's other strategies that you can do when it comes to like hot lead gen, stuff like re-engagement, hand raisers, like announcing that you have an offer and who wants it, just raise your hands, stuff like that. Re-engagement basically means if you have a dead email list or a dead audience, you can do a re-engagement plan for them to like revive. I've done that for myself and a few clients, and it always works. So like the other stuff that you can do for like inbounds or hot leads, you can also do plugs under your posts, where it's like by the way, I'm doing something about X, Y, Z. And that's simply it. It's simply you're plugging your offer under your posts. It works. CTAs, really simple, don't need to explain that. Sales assets, more in this below, which I'm excited to show you. Email sequences, multiple email sequences, welcome sequences, re-engagement sequences, nurturing sequences, segmented sequences, stuff like that. And launches, you can do a direct offer launch, for example. You can do an upsell offer launch, like an LTO to HTO upsell, etc. But also, if you don't know what I'm saying, or if you're not understanding what I just said, and you probably shouldn't need to worry about those things. You only need to worry about the basic things, really. So the second thing is warm leads. And warm leads are really simple. It's basically everyone that you can start a conversation to within your audience. So the first thing is warm DMs. You basically talk to everyone who follows you, engages with you, likes your posts, comments, and basically everyone who interacts with your brand. And so that's really easy to do, you know? I wouldn't need to go deep on that. I'll go over bait DMs in a bit, but like email conversations, same thing. You know, everyone who signs up to your list or emails you, that's a potential warm conversation. Now the thing here is bait DMs, and people don't talk about this a lot. But if you have a decent brand, like let's say you have 500 followers, you can basically do bait DMs. It's kind of cold DMs, but how you do it is basically like say so if this is a prospect, like for example, if I have a prospect here, and this guy has like 10 followers, but I see he's qualified, maybe he mentions that he runs a physical business or he has a business before, then I'll simply like reach out to him and say, hey, keep up the great work. And he will usually respond because he sees that I have 500 for 1,000 followers. You know, people don't usually message you with that many followers. It's the other way around, right? But if I do that, it'll kind of create like a pattern interrupt. And so he's like, oh, why did this guy message me? I'm now interested. So I have to reply to him. And so I message him and he replies to me. And after he replies to me, it basically becomes cold because I did not ask him to reply to me with the intention of like being interested in me. I just told him, hey, keep up the good work. You're doing great stuff here, you know? And so that kind of puts the authority on me and not on them, which, you know, happens a lot when you're doing cold DMs. So this is really good if you have a brand to leverage. If not, then just focus on like all the other things. Now, the third thing is cold DMs. Now, this is the hardest out of the three if you're purely relying on this to scale. Now, again, when it comes to Callum, since he has a really good example here, his main problem was lead interest. Now, lead interest is basically you have leads, but people aren't showing interest in your DMs or scripts, for example. So how we fix that is mainly through a few things. So better follow-ups, done. Now these matter a lot, better follow-ups, because like for example, the way that you get clients in cold DMs is not by being annoying, of course, but by being relentless and willing to actually get them as a client and to actually genuinely help them. And having better follow-ups, you know, like I have 14 days of follow-ups that I teach to my clients. Sometimes it runs for like 28 days. And so we're really like relentless in follow-ups because like while some people are hoping for the perfect first response, we are hoping to actually just get them as a client. Where it would take like 4 follow-ups, 10 follow-ups, you know, we still get clients at the end of the day. Playing the long game, it always works. Better scripts. So if you simply have horrible DM scripts, then you're not going to get clients. And so I fixed that with Callum, also related to like his brand framing stuff that I talked about earlier in this video. Second thing is better leads scarcity. So similar to like Martin, people weren't showing interest in his stuff simply because they didn't have a reason to. And so we fixed that. And the fourth thing is lead speed. Now, it's kind of related to the better follow-ups thing, but if someone replies to you, you need to reply immediately. Don't act like, you know, one of the popular advice that was given, like, I don't know who gave it, but he said something along the lines of, if you want perceived authority, then you should reply after a certain minute, right? Now, that might work in dating, but this is not dating. This is a business game. And people in business, they appreciate speed. Like, you need speed when it comes to everything, not just when it comes to DMs, but when it comes to answering people, making content, making launches and everything, right? Like that's a big lesson for you. If you're not doing things with speed, you might as well stop doing business altogether. You know, it's kind of like procrastinating on planning rather than doing. And so you need to do things with speed. You need to have relentlessness, especially when it comes to talking to people. And you need to have willingness that you're actually there to help people. And people feel that, you know, like it's an energy game. If people can feel that, then you're going to get really great results. So I would work on that. Now, after you fix your lead problem, we get to sales now. So, sales is probably the most neglected but most important lever to master in our space today. Why? Now, lead gen is very easy once you figure it out. A way to like consistently find leads. Delivery and positioning can be easy for businesses on 10k a month. Like I said, don't need to focus on delivery if you're only that. But sales, it's something that is very hard to master if you're a complete beginner at it. And sure, you can get clients without learning the real stuff about sales, or even just by having surface level sales knowledge. And I've seen people getting results with that. But the thing is, not knowing sales is the number one reason, and I'm adamant on this, it's the number one reason why so many beginners can get clients and get inbound leads, like what people talk about on X, but cannot get for the life of them consistent clients and retaining clients consistently. Yes, like sales matter even in retention, and I can explain why in a bit. All right, sorry for interrupting. But if you want my one-to-one help in applying everything so far, positioning, offers, leads, sales, and scaling to your own individual and unique offer, then let me know, because I'm opening 6 private spots just for this only. And so if you want my one-to-one help, unlimited calls, unlimited chat access, and full access to Prestige curriculum, stuff that I'm not talking about in this video, then DM me Prestige. I'll give you an offer that you might like because I've made it special only for you guys in this giveaway, and I'll explain it later. But if you want first access before people get through it, then simply send me a message and I'll give you the details. All right. So if you simply master sales, you'll not only be able to constantly get and retain clients, but you'll also build up the skills and foundation to be able to scale to bigger months like 20k a month or even 100k a month. Because if you can get clients and if you can get leads, congrats, you're doing good. But if you cannot retain that or get consistent in getting clients, then you cannot scale. And I know the people that are watching this don't just want to remain in like one number, like even 5k a month can make a lot of us comfortable. But I know that a lot of you want to scale to bigger numbers. You guys have ambitious goals. You guys have a vision for yourself or wanting to build something big. And that's commendable, But if you simply cannot simply like even retain people or like consistent get new clients every single month, then you're not building a business. You're just kind of building like a call center, like what my friend said. So with that being said, I'm going to teach you how to actually do real sales, and when it comes to real sales, it's not really just about sales calls. Yes, sales calls matter a lot, but it's not the entire big picture, because a lot of people who do not want to learn real sales is like stuff who are it's like people who are scared of sales. So if you're kind of that guy, then don't be scared. It's very it's not that scary. That's what I'm trying to say. So when it comes to sales, let's talk about sales assets first. So I'll give you an example again with one of my clients. So the first example is Onat. And so when Onat came to me, he already had a decent audience and he already had decent stuff. He already went through like another program and he already has built offers, but people just weren't buying his stuff. And so like the easiest way that we have been able to fix this is sales assets. So we built stuff like auto redirect proof pages, so after people book a call with him or show interest in his stuff, they get redirected to proof pages to like validate their interest. Lead magnets that are also like sales assets, landing pages for his offers, so people actually know what he's doing and can back it up. Because like sales assets, their main job is to tell who you are, what you do, how you can help them with proof. That equals a good sales asset. Now if you cannot even tell people that, then you're going to mess up a lot. Like, do not bother building a landing page for your offer if you do not tell these things. Do not bother building a landing page if you do not explain these things. So you need to explain those things, because sales assets, their main job is to pre-sell people or um, secure a deal after a call. So like you can also build, when it comes to sales assets, like you can build special segmented email sequences. You can do it by simply doing a normal email flow or adding videos on top of it, which I've been experimenting on. Call reminders like I have, wait, no, this is not it. I'm supposed to have this here. All right, so I have call reminders, which is like what people get sent before a call, for example. And when people think call reminders, they only think like just reminding people. So like we have a call in X hours, click the link here to confirm it. No, it's not like that. What I mean by call reminders is like nurturing people before the call even happens. So I'll give you an example for me. So when people book a call with me, some of them, depending on their lead status, will get put on like a 10 email sequence, and that runs for like 3 days. So think about it, 10 emails in 3 days, that's like what, like 2 to 3 emails every single day, and I blast them with those emails to nurture them before the call even happens. And what I'll talk about there on like the call reminders are like stuff like proof. So I'll talk about my clients, program, so what I actually sell, so they won't get shocked when I try to sell them something on the program. And I talk about stuff like paradigm shifting stuff. So that usually means if some of these guys have beliefs that I need to break, then I talk about that early. Compared to if I talk about it on like on the call, on the sales call, which will make the call much harder to break. So if you want effortless sales, and if you want to get clients really effortlessly, then you need to do like really good call reminders. So that's a really great way to do sales assets in general. It's effortless, like you don't need to do any fancy stuff, and it's really good. Now the next thing is pre and post call sales assets. So like the best pre call sales asset is the call reminder. There's other stuff like sending people personalized videos before a call, and post call. So for example, if you aren't able to close clients after the call, then you can have sales assets for that. Like I have that. I have a sequence where if I don't close clients on the call, or if there's if there's um a reason for them to not get to join on the program on the call, then I have a sequence for those guys, and that usually guarantees the sale if they did show interest, like 9 times out of 10. So it works a lot. Now, the last thing is sales assets and follow-ups. So if you're doing like this thing, which I can finally show you, is this is basically the 14 days of follow-ups that I was talking about with my clients. So if you're doing this, you can actually improve social proof here. So for example, on follow-up 4, you can include stuff like include client vid testimonial. You can say like, hey, if you still don't believe the system where I generated XYZ in XYZ time frame, then I can show you one of my clients who actually did it in XYZ time frame. So pretty similar. Do you want the link on that or something? So you just say stuff like that, and it's going to make your conversions much more believable, right? So that's basically it when it comes to sales assets. Now, honestly, one of the biggest regrets that I have had with my brand is not building enough sales assets when I was starting out. Because as you grow bigger, obviously, you'll have more leverage when it comes to just pure audience size and pure results. But as a beginner, you don't have that much leverage. And so to kind of build that leverage, one, you need to build funnels like I talked about at the start. And two, you need to get good at building sales assets, like if you simply tell people who you are, what you do, and how you can help them improve, and everything that you post online, then you are going to get much more clients. I'm telling you. I guess one of the big focus that I have with my clients nowadays, because I've seen like with building good sales assets, and I've been like deep on this stuff because I'm learning it a lot, you'll scale much more faster and be able to really like sign lots of clients. And so like if you're hopping on sales calls and people are like getting shocked that your offer, don't even see it valuable, then yeah, you're going to need to build sales assets. It's just how it is. And again, like the main goal of a sales asset is to mainly nurture people, whether that's before a call or after a call. So that means that you're able to get clients before you even hop on a call, or you will be able to save a deal after you hop on a call. Now, without sales assets, that can never happen. Like you cannot pre-sell people without having any of this stuff. Because what do you think happens, for example, after people hop on a call with you? they forget about you, you know. They may not forget about you in the next day or so, but they forget about you after that. So how do you make them not forget you? You need to follow up. And, you know, for most people, regular follow-ups do work. Just simply saying, hey, what do you think about the offer? But if you really want an edge and you don't want to sound desperate, then you need sales assets on top of that, you know, in the context of talking to people after a call. So another reason why you need sales assets is because you may find prospects choosing another service provider or a coach mentor before you. You know, and so that's basically a competition, but you can win over that. And this only happens because they've managed to nurture people more than you. So if you want the easiest way to nurture people without needing to post thousands of content like people talk about, or without needing to have thousands of followers, then you need sales assets. You know, like this is literally all the way how people with like 100 followers and like 1,000 followers get more clients than people with 100K followers. They simply have good sales assets. They have a better way of nurturing people. Like I know this guy who has like 1,000 followers, you know, barely gets 5 likes per post. But in like 3 months, he was able to scale to 90K cash collected. And that simply doesn't happen if you don't have good sales assets. Like you can have the best DM script, the best content, even if it doesn't get likes, and the best everything, the best funnels. But if you don't have good sales assets to actually nurture people so they pay you that much, then you're simply not going to get clients. It's really simple. You know, it's like laws of physics in business. If you want clients without needing to have thousands of content or thousands of followers, you need sales assets. That's basically it. Okay, and so after you build your sales asset, now we have to tackle the elephant in the room, which is basically like, how do I actually convert people into clients? And so this is how, I'll show you in a bit. But most of these screenshots here, you know, of my clients, of the stuff here, most of them are simply because I built a conversion engine and I was able to convert them into clients. And there's multiple ways that you can do sales. You can sell through chat, you can sell through DM, you could simply sell through email. But the way that I'm going to be teaching you here is general sales knowledge. So no matter if you sell on call, on chat, or in email, you will be able to apply this. Now, to be more specific, though, I'm going to be teaching calls, because like calls, for example, they give me much higher conversion rates, and all of my clients also got higher conversion rates when you simply learn how to do actually decent sales calls. So an example I have here is Celeste. Now, Celeste at first glance, you'd think she'd be making like millions, right? Not millions. You'd think she was making a lot. But when she came to me, she was only making 3K a month. And now her account wasn't dead. You know, like you may say that, oh, maybe her account was dead and people didn't like her stuff because her account was dead. Well, the thing is, her account wasn't dead. She was getting like 200 likes per post. And so she was really active and her audience was active. But she was just, to like put it simply, horrible when it comes to sales strategies, you know? Like, I don't blame her because her old coach taught her, like, in order to improve on sales, you need to negotiate on calls, you need to do discounts, you need to drop bonuses to handle objections, and you need to do all of these bad things when it comes to sales. And, you know, I was on a call with her and she was telling me all of these things, and I was like, wait, are you joking? Or stuff like that, because like this is a really bad way to do sales. It works with like some context, but this was like the main strategy that her coach taught her to do when the slightest objection came. And so I taught her how to actually get good at sales. And the first thing that you need to learn is to learn NEPQ style questions. Now, if you don't know what NEPQ means, it's basically like the new way of selling that Jeremy Miner made, you know, like one of the best when it comes to modern sales. Like the new old way of sales is being pushy, being slimy, being desperate, you know, like all of these things. If you're pushy, slimy, desperate, you tend to do all of these things. But the new NEPQ style of selling focuses on the like the psychology side of things, ethically, you know. So you ask really good questions. You ask like, what do you think will happen if you don't change this in the next 3 months? Or like how is that affecting you right now? You know, how is it when it comes to your like lead gen? Do you find that it's getting worse? You know, asking good questions like that rather than just telling them, hey, I think you have a problem, let's go ahead and fix it. You know, that doesn't work, especially nowadays. And so like you need to learn how to ask good question, and that already gives you an edge compared to so many people. Now the second thing is you need to get good at like language reflection pitches. And what do I mean by that? It's basically creating custom offers based on what the prospects tell you, and you do that on the spot. Like for example, if someone tells you that they mainly need help with lead gen, you do not pitch them your um you do not pitch them stuff like, okay, so my offer helps mostly with sales, but here's what we'll do. You don't say stuff like that. Instead, you say stuff like, okay, well, since your problem is like mainly leads, I'll tweak some of how I help you a bit, and we'll focus on lead gen. And the way that we focus lead gen is XYZ, since you told me that you needed help with XYZ. So it's like language reflection. You just talk about what they just told you, and that's the easiest way to actually pitch someone when it comes to their offers. So I would simply do that when it comes to all of your sales calls. It's the easiest way to actually like perform at sales calls without like templatizing everything. So the third thing is objection handling, not objection battling. Now, when it comes to objection battling, a lot of people do these things. Like they negotiate, they do discounts, they drop bonuses, and that doesn't really work. Like you just need to handle the objections. If someone tells you like they don't have the money to invest, you can ask them stuff like, yeah, cool, perfectly fine. Just asking you. Is it because you don't have the liquid cash right now, or is it because you don't think that the program can get you the ROI? So ask them stuff like that. So rather than just saying stuff like, okay, cool. Would this price work, or would this discounted price work? Like you sound desperate when you do that. So instead, ask the real reason why they said that, because like most objections that people give you are just smoke screens. It's not the real reason. And so I would simply practice objection handling. It's something that I teach to so many of my clients, and they actually get so much more clients simply by handling the objections, even like really simple objections. So I would work on that. Now, the fourth thing is sales framing. Now, when it comes to sales framing, you need to frame your way. You need to frame your stuff in a good way before the call even starts. Like, obviously, you can do that with sales assets. That's one, and I already talked about that. Two, you can say stuff like, hey, so this actually is a sales call. So at the end of this call, I'll only present my offer if it actually can help you. But right now, we're just going to talk about your stuff and strategize. If I cannot help you, then you still walk away in this call, without an offer. So like stuff like that. It's basically just framing the call. Saying stuff like, hey, I'll only make you an offer if your stuff resonates. It's simple as that. And if you do sales calls and notice that people are shocked when you pitch, or you cannot even get yourself to pitch, it's simply because you don't frame your call. You could frame it by doing sales assets, like I said. Like if you do sales assets, it basically implies that you're going to sell to them. But if you don't do that, then you can simply do it before the call, or you can do both. It also works. Then the last part is use sales assets. Pretty self-explanatory. Like almost all of the people that I've helped here have built sales assets in some way, shape, or form. It's one of the biggest things that we have done to like blow up our conversions and like client acquisition in general. So like after Celeste fixed her sales, she was able to hit her six-figure month goal in Q1, Q2 in her coin. So that was only like in 3 weeks, and in her coin it was like pesos or something. So that was like 6K a month or 7K a month. I think I converted that a few weeks ago, and I remember it being 6K, 7K a month. Yeah, so it's around that price. And he did hit in 2 weeks. Well, it's pretty much 3 weeks because we went on a call first. And the second thing is she fell into the content creator trap. Like I said, Celeste, she had the influence and the followers obviously, but she simply was not getting clients. And so we kind of fixed that, and now she gets clients, especially after implementing sales. Now, real sales skills make you cash. You can get clients without learning all of these stuff, and you will most likely get clients, but if you actually want to scale, get clients consistently, and retain people, then you will need to learn sales. And the reason why sales also matter in retention is because sales actually like teach you how to start up conversations with your clients that make them see a future with you. Like like the biggest reason why people leave your programs is not because they're not getting the initial results. Like you probably find that you're helping people, or they'll tell you that they got clarity or they got lots of info for you, but on the second month they leave, and that's simply because they don't see a good future with you. But if you learn to ask any PQ style questions, even in like client calls, for example, and like you say them, oh, like what do you think will happen in 3 months if you don't change this, stuff like that, then they will see a future with you, and that makes the likelihood of you retaining them much more higher. So it's important, not just in like getting clients, which is always very important, but also in retaining clients, right? Okay, so the fifth thing when it comes to the prestige method is scaling. Like I said, if you're having trouble with like burning out, if you're under like 10K, 20K a month, and the biggest advice that I can give you is to just raise your prices. Like that's just it, right? If you cannot do that, or if you are still burning out while raising your prices, you are doing something extremely wrong, right? Like the most reason why people burn out at like under um 10K or 20K a month is simply because they're working with too many little playing clients. Like imagine if we're 10K a month, imagine 10 times $500 clients. Like that's just stressful, you know? If you've been in business for a while, you'll know that lower paying clients are more likely to churn than higher paying clients. And so like if you simply increase your prices to 1K a month, then you only get 10 people and you'll get 10K a month. And so like that's my biggest advice for you. But if you want a more like specific way on how I help people with these numbers, then I'll simply show you, and I'll do a fun experiment below. But again, first off, you're a beginner, then just follow this guide. So you can take a screenshot right now and use this, but I won't go deep on this because I've already talked about it in my previous giveaway. So if not, or if you just want to find out what to do in the future, then let's have fun. So what I will do is I will do an on-the-spot client helping. So like we can role play a bit. So for example, if you came to me and you were making anywhere from like 1K a month um to 10K a month. I know it's a huge gap, but you might be in this numbers. Then how can Prestige help you? Which is this entire system that you just watched this video on. Or in general, how can Prestige or Sean help you? So let's start, and hopefully this will be fun. So for example, if you're making 1K a month, 10K a month, and what you sell is like like I'm trying to think of the most random thing. Okay, so if you sell something like spirituality coaching, spirituality coaching, I'm trying to think of the most random thing, but this applies if you're in marketing, done for you services, all of these stuff. You know what I'm talking about. So no matter what your niche is, this will apply. So if you're selling this thing, let's go with spirituality coaching for now because it's really random. So if someone came to me and let's say they do spiritual coaching and they do like 5K a month, right? So the first thing that I'll do with these people is I'll ask them, do you already do the basics? Like I consider beginners anyone making under 10K a month, right? After 10K a month, you kind of know more about business. You failed a few times and you know what works or not. And so I asked them first, okay, are you doing the basics? Are you tracking basic data and KPIs every single day? Are you focusing on your signature offer that I just talked about earlier? Are you posting content or sending DMs every single day? Are you reaching out to people and actually like clearing out their conversations, warm DMs or outbound? Are you constantly improving your basic systems? Because like if you want progress with your business and really like get more efficiency every single day, then you need to improve your basic system. So like DMs, scripts, lead quality, who you message, and like in general the basic stuff. You can take a pause here to check out the other stuff. Finding consistent ways to get views and leads, so like always adapting, treating every single DM lead as important, so like not seeing yourself as this all important person, and collecting as much social proof as possible. So I asked them first if they're doing all of that. If they're not, then we are fixing that. And so if this spirituality coaching person is not focusing on tracking basic KPIs, for example, then how will they find out if what they're doing even works, you know? And so I asked them that first. Are you doing the basic stuff? Are you tracking the data, you know? If they aren't, then we fix that. If they are, then we move on to other bottlenecks. So, you know, with the prestige, let's go back to the top. With the prestige method, we focus on mainly 5 things. And so let me copy paste this here. Let's copy paste this here. So I'll ask them, okay, so how is your brand framing? Are you positioning your brand in a way where people actually remember your brand name and stuff? No, then we'll fix that. Do you have funnels? You know, you're messaging people. Like, let's pretend that this person is messaging tens of hundreds of cold DMs every single day. They're sending out those many. I'll ask them, okay, do you have a landing page to help you with that? Can people check out something in your account after they see your cold DM? If not, then we'll fix that. You know, it's literally a roadmap that you can follow with yourself. Um, signature offer messaging. So I'll ask them, okay, so what's your offer? It's spirituality coaching. Now, have you posted about your experiences with spirituality? No. Why not? It's literally what you need to post about if you want to sell a spirituality coaching offer. So you need to post about it. Then we'll fix that. You know, then the other stuff. Are you doing content marketing if content is your focus? Are you doing sales assets if you already get people on calls? And are you doing all of these different things? You know, are you using NEPQ, stuff like that? And so once I ask them that, we go ahead and fix that. And so usually that's usually enough for people to get to like 10K a month. Like, I'm just going to be completely honest, you know, even if I'm here to sell you my stuff, that's already enough for you to get a 10K a month. Obviously, if you want to get there faster, then you'll need to do more different things. But if you want to get there in like 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, then yeah, applying all of these things and even in this giveaway can get you to that number alone. And so like after that, and they want to scale to like 10K, 20K a month, what we do is like more nuanced stuff. So like for example, let me go up here. We may need to do like call reminders, like really long ones, building more sales assets. So for like this person, I'll ask them, are you doing sales assets, call reminders? Like on top of that, are you reviewing your calls, DMs, etc.? And like having a coach in general to review these things will help you scale much more faster. And that's kind of like what I help with my clients, since you know you can do all of this stuff yourself, but if you have someone to tell you exactly where you're going wrong and your unique stuff, then yeah, you will scale much more faster. So I have them do stuff like that. And like better yet, if they're still having trouble like pinpointing why they're not growing or why stuff is inconsistent, I'll ask them first, okay, are you actually putting in the work? Let's look at your data. You know, if their answer is not clear, I'll ask them, okay, are you tracking data? If they're not tracking data, then that's another thing to fix. So I'm kind of saying a lot of things here, but I'm trying to like I'm trying to summarize it as much as possible. Like for example, here's some of the things that I track. It's kind of a lot and it's a bit like weird right now, but um this is kind of what I track with my business and some of the things that I religiously look at every single day. For example, I have an Airtable with all of my clients and when I have calls with them. So I know exactly where they're going wrong and how I can help them next call. So like I have a client journey with each of them. And so I know, for example, if this client is struggling with leads, that should be fixed by our next call. Because if that isn't fixed, then we'll go ahead and fix that. You know, I don't jump over other problems just for the sake of like having more runtime on call. If I need to tell people on like a 5-minute call that they just need to do what I told them to do last week, I go ahead and tell them that, you know. At the end of the day, like getting people to stay in your program is as simple as genuinely caring about them and remembering what you guys talked about. You know, if you want to get people to retain, you simply need to care about your clients. That's the easiest way to retain people. And doing that, you know, like telling people, hey, on our last call, we mentioned that you need to do XYZ before doing new things. So did you do that? Did you not do it? Why not? So if you didn't, then we should fix that first. And so yeah, go through that stuff with my CRM here. And so if this person is now at like 10K a month, then the next step is data. So they need to focus on like this call tracking and like taking notes on the call and recording the calls and like really like summarizing the call and sending it to their coach. Like for me, I reviewed the calls of my clients. Um try like really seeing where people come from. I know it's not like put here because it's like a template, but like you need to know where people are coming from exactly. So are they coming from inbounds on your post? Are they coming from giveaways? Are they coming from other sales assets? You know, if you don't figure out that stuff, then you will never know where you will get actually clients. So basically you're just relying on luck, which is not what you want to do. So after that, I also have these things about metrics. So I know every single week where I'm doing things wrong and where I'm not doing things correctly. So I have stuff like how many followers I get every single day. I have stuff like how many interests I get. I have stuff like how many leads I get. And like I have a running total here. Obviously I blurred it for personal reasons. And like weekly totals, I have how many new followers I get, new leads, and offer docs and deals closed. And so like if you simply don't track those basic stuff, I know it looks basic, but this kind of looks like complexity right now. But I promise you everything here is basic. If you track those things, then you will simply scale much more faster than the guy who kind of like do things blindly. So like if someone who is spiritually coaching came to me, I would not look at it as like, oh damn, spirituality coaching is really hard to scale, you know? That might be the case. And you know, that might be the case for some niches. But if you really go through it, like everything can be doable, like laws of physics, especially in business, then you'll simply need to follow through a roadmap. Like, are you doing all of these things? If so, are you doing these things that we just talked about? And if so, are you tracking data so you know the nuances to improve or to how to give your coach to tell you what to improve on? Are you doing that stuff? No? Then, you know, simply do them. Simply just do the work. Like I have calls with people, I just told them, okay, dude, you simply need to log in and do the work. You know, we don't have anything this week. You just need to do the work. Like I cancel calls with my clients sometimes and tell them, hey, you just need to do the call. And no, it's like it's not arrogant, you know. It's just being honest with them. If you save them time, by saying you don't need a call this week, you just need to do the work, then they'll appreciate it, you know. So like the main point here with like this experiment here is that there's not really much for you to do other than really finding out about your problems and finding specific solutions to fix them. Like don't go around and like read 500 books before you get started. No, you need to learn about those things after you discover that they're a problem. And so like a lot of the things that I do here are like tracking data to actually find out if what I'm struggling with is even a problem, right? And so that's what I'm leaving you here when it comes to the this experiment. Now obviously there's like some little things that come into play here. Like there's some little details here that I may have not covered, because if I did, then this video will literally last like 5 hours. You know, it's almost like 2 hours now. So with that being said, if you want my one-to-one help in applying this entire method right here, because I've helped all of these people, you know, I've probably like blasted you with too much social proof, I just noticed now. And applying the prestige method, like applying these things and really getting the little nuances in like scaling. So if you do marketing done for your services, there's some like little nuances on them. So if you want my help in applying the prestige method and become like my case studies here or like testimonials, then you can simply hit me up with the link below this video with like a button and DM me prestige. So I'm opening up 6 private spots for the people seeing this only, because right after this I'll actually be launching Prestige, which is my main program. And when I launch that, it's going to be priced differently, because this is before the prices get raised. So what do you get in Prestige? You get one-to-one mentoring. That includes unlimited calls one-to-one chat access with me with full access to the Prestige curriculum, which teaches you everything here, plus a few other things. Like it teaches you stuff about efficiency. It teaches you stuff about like funnels, which I didn't copy here on a separate thing. But yeah, I have a separate module about like funnels, stuff like that. And so like if you want help on like the little nuances and really like get results quickly, then simply send me a message, and no, you won't need to sell like a kidney for Prestige. So my more expensive packages, like I sell a 6K packages with some of my clients. You get that only after you get results. So I prioritize my clients' ROI first, meaning I want you to make your money back before I sell you into my more expensive stuff. So no, you don't have to sell a kidney. And yeah, so if you want to join us inside Prestige, simply DM me Prestige and we'll start getting results like these. And the main goal for you is to get your brand to 10K, 20K a month, either by growing it or by scaling it, like this spirituality coaching person. So that's pretty much it from this video. If you found value from this video, I don't know, send me a message. This was the first ever video that I've done like this. And if you want more help, like I said, just DM me. All right. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the other side. All right. See ya.